Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar hosted by PageProof and SiriusTech. So today we will talk about the Accelerate Creative Approvals in Retail and Packaging using PageProof. So today we have Marcus, who will be doing the PageProof demo, and then you have myself, I'm Jason from Sirius Technology. We'll just give you a brief introduction on who is Sirius Technology. So Sirius Technology is established in year 2006. To date, we have done more than 500 plus projects. We have a total of 12 team members across 15, and we have clients in total of 15 countries, and we cover mainly the Southeast Asia region. Here are our offices. We have our main office in Malaysia, in Cyberjaya, and then we have our sales office in Singapore, and our development and R&D office in Vietnam, and also our sales office is also in Ho Chi Minh. Right? So here are some of our technology partners that we work together with in our solutions that we represent. So today we will be talking about PageProof, which is our online review and approval solution for the retail and packaging industry. So SiriusTech is a PageProof partner, and we basically cover the whole entire Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, and Cambodia. Right?
Fantastic.
So over to you, Marcus.
Fantastic. Hi, everybody. So I'm Marcus from PageProof, and I'll be taking you through PageProof today. Now, what I wanted to do is just go through an introduction first about PageProof, so what we are and what we do. So we are an online proofing tool designed to gather feedback on work. So you can take any type of work that you're working on, and in this case, we're going to talk about packaging and retail catalogs and things. But it doesn't matter what work it is. It could be video, it could be some design that you're doing, it could be anything that you want. So we can proof anything that you like. I think Jason, if you can put the screen back. Yep. There we go. Excellent. Thank you. So just going onto the next slide. So we do all file types. So you can have a PowerPoint presentation, you can have a PDF, Illustrator file, InDesign, Photoshop, but we also support things like Figma and Canva and those sorts of things as well. So any sort of file that you're working on, but particularly for this webinar, we're going to talk about Illustrator and also InDesign as well. Now, once the file is inside of PageProof, people are able to do some very obvious things like zoom in so they can get close into the detail. They can then mark up changes that they may want on the work. Commenting, they can mention each other, they can measure elements on the work as well if they want to. And we have these features that enable you to move the work from team member to team member to team member in what we call a PageProof workflow. So workflow very simply says, send it to this team first. Once they've done their bit, move it to this team, then this team, until we sign it off. So you're getting your review in the right order from the right people. But, of course, people sometimes don't know or remember to do the review, so we have automated reminders that kick in and keep everybody moving along. And there are also checklists for compliance as well. Now, for this particular webinar, we were talking about packaging and talking about retail catalogs and things. So when it comes to packaging, we actually group that up into a bunch of different types of work. And this is a background of mine personally. So any labels that you might be doing for juice bottles or wine or anything like that, those label type pieces of work, we call that packaging. Then there's boxes that stuff comes in. So that is truly a packaging piece. So that is, for example, you might have a piece, some fragrance or anything comes in a box. And then, of course, we look at some of the labels and pieces of material that come inside of those boxes as part of packaging as well. So what's important for those sorts of workflows things like color separations, have we got the right number of color plates on this piece of packaging work? The one thing that's different about packaging over anything like social or any digital workflows is once you okay it and you send it off to print it, you can print 1 million of those boxes and it better be right. So this is something that is a little bit of a important point. So you want to use the tools to make sure the work is as correct as possible. It's very important. So I'll go through a number of these tools as part of the demonstration. Our barcode scanner, QR code scanner, spell check, and all those sorts of tools will all show up. Okay, next slide. So a little bit of logo wall, just showing you some of the retail customers that PageProof has. We have the majority of the major retailers around the world use us for their review and approval. It's a big part of our business. It's doing things like catalogs, but it also includes social and video and all those sorts of things as well. So there's some logos there that may or may not be familiar to you. And if we go to the next slide, just in general, if we look at our packaging customers, there are a number of customers there, including Kosas, Aesop, Lush, those sorts of brands, which are Hourglass, which are cosmetics brands. We have a number of cosmetics brands using the platform, but a wide range of other customers that work with packaging. So they're selling products, putting things in a box and shipping that off. That box, that packaging is the thing that we provide the review tools for. All right, so what I thought I'd do now is I would switch over and take you through a demo. Now, the demonstration that I'm going to take you through is actually of 2 types of work, packaging and then a retail catalog. So we'll have a quick look at how they look inside of PageProof. So I'm just going to share my screen with you so that you can see these. So we'll just pop that over and we'll jump straight into the packaging workflow. So here we are looking at a piece of packaging inside PageProof. Now, this is the PageProof proofing screen, and a lot has happened to actually get to here. We've done things like figured out who it's going to, we've set the deadline, we've done all those things, and I'm actually going to show you that towards the end of the webinar, how you actually set up a proof. But the experience of your reviewers, this is something that I wanted to show you here. So your reviewers, very simply, they come into your proof. They would have received an invitation via email or Microsoft Teams or maybe Slack. It directs them directly to the proofing screen. And in here, we have over on the left-hand side a set of review tools. We have the content in the center of the screen. And then when you're finished, there is a button here that says finished where you make your decision. So this is the basic, these are the basics of the PageProof proofing screen. There is a checklist here. So the checklist can pop up automatically, and this can show you all the things that you need to do. And this is great because typically a person's job is not a full-time proofer. The job is typically something else, they're a product manager or a category manager. So having this checklist means, yes, I've done the crop marks, I've checked those, I've checked the copy, so they can go through and actually verify all the things that they have checked inside of here. But anyway, let's get in and put some feedback on this particular proof. So to place feedback in PageProof, you simply use the tools on the left-hand side. So I can just come in, grab hold of, in this case, the pen tool. And with the pen tool, I might select over a particular area, just click and drag. When I release, the comment pane comes out from the right-hand side, and then I can write my comment in the comment pane here. So I can say, move this to the left and change to green. So I can add that comment onto the proof and just simply click on the arrow, and now that piece of feedback is left on the proof for my designers to go in action. I can use the drawing pen. The drawing pen is particularly useful because you can do things like, hey, this thing here, I'd like to move it over here a little bit. So you can actually draw on the proof And you can draw as much as you like. So you can say, hey, I want that moved as well. That should sort of go up into here. So you can mark up the proof with as much drawing as you want, and then put in the comment, you know, please move. And then that can be added as a comment as well. Now, text highlighting. If you see a piece of text that you want to highlight, you just click and drag over the top of it. It grabs that piece of text and puts it into the comment. So for example, if I wanted to say, grab this word here, just click and drag, and it puts that up into the comment, and now I can go and make my my suggestions on what I'd like that to be changed to. So you can do that inside of here. I'll put here, I want that to be dry, and just add that on as well. Now, some of the features of commenting, by the way, you've got reply here, so you can hit reply, so other people can reply to your comments. You can mention other people, so you type the @ symbol, and you can mention other people in the comment, and they'll get a notification and be able to come in and leave feedback on the comment as well. So you can do all that. There is also the ability to style the copy inside of the comment, so you can bold, italic, strike through. All of those things can be done in the styling side of the comments. So very powerful. You've also got here the ability to attach files into the comments if you wanted to. So I can just go attach file, choose a file, and attach it into the comment. So all of those features are all available here for your reviewers to leave really detailed comments on your proof. Okay, so that's the commenting, which is great. But once you've finished leaving your feedback, the finished button down here, if I click, I can say, in this case, changes please, and that's going to submit my decision on the proof. So it's very straightforward to get started with PageProof. All you need to do when it comes to the proofing screen is use the red pen, place the feedback and comments on the proof, and then press the green button to make your decision. That's it. That's all people need to know. Now, of course, when it comes to packaging, there are some people in proofing which are very detailed, extremely detailed. They're going to want to know, okay, how do I do this? Or how do I look at the separations? Or how do I check things? So let me show you some of the advanced features in PageProof right here. So first things first, over on the left-hand side, you've got a measurement widget. When you click into the measurement widget, it shows you a bit of technical information about the proof. So it shows you things like the dimensions, file size, and if you scroll down, it shows you the fonts that are being used in the design, so you can make sure that you're using only brand fonts in your work. And you can see here, it's showing us that it's a 5-color print job, so CMYK plus a spot color. So that's really important information that you can't see in the proof, but it can show you technically over here. If you want to check things like, you know, I want to zoom in, for example, so I can grab the zoom tool. If I zoom into this area here, you know, I may want to check, for example, things like the spelling and things like that. So that is all done in the magic tools. You've got, for example, a spell check here. If you choose the spell check, it's going to highlight for you the words for spelling. You hover over it, and you can click as well, and you can suggest changes and ignore and all that sort of thing. So spelling all built into spell check is built in. At the moment, it is US English and UK English are the options for the spell check. There are more dictionaries coming soon. Now, looking at what else we can do inside of here, well, you'll notice that this piece of work has got barcodes and QR codes on it. And typically, you want to be able to check these. So if you go over to the magic tools, there's a barcode QR code scanner here. Click onto that. It then highlights for you exactly where the barcodes and QR codes are. And then you can hover over them, and it'll tell you some technical information about it. So it tells you what the type of barcode is, and it tells you the value and the dimensions and things. And if you want to change it, you can go create comment and mark up the change for barcodes. For QR codes, it's slightly different. A QR code, we actually unfurl what the contents of the QR code are so that you can see them inside of here. And if you click, you can actually open that URL in a new tab, or you can just create a comment around that as well. So some really great features for barcodes and QR code checking to make sure they are the way you expect. Now, in this set of magic tools, you've got things like the ruler tool for measuring elements on here, so I can measure this and make sure that is the dimension I would expect, or I want to say, you know, how wide that is, tell me what that is, or I can go over the top of this. You can actually move these around too, so you can say, well, is that the same as this? So you can see the measurements are pretty cool, really useful. There are grid lines here. Grid lines, just you can pull the grid lines in. You can make sure things are lining up the way you'd expect, so you can really get into the detail. We're using grid lines to make sure things are lining up in the best way. And then there's a few other options here, which I'll just hover over. PDF comment import. You might have somebody who just doesn't want to change. They want to keep using Acrobat, and you want to incorporate this into your workflow. You can very simply import the comments from PDF, and it'll put them inside of PageProof for you. And I'll show you why that's important when we come to our integration with Illustrator. And then finally, color check. The color check here lets you go through and find colors that you can check the contrast on. You can just use it for just choosing colors as well. But if you look at the color check, it's used for checking contrast to make sure things are still readable when they're on different background colors. So, for example, if I choose the color here and I pick this background color, it's going to tell me that this panel here is excellent readability. Black text on this background is going to be readable for those that may find it a little bit difficult to look at the contrast. So that's what the contrast check is for. So a lot of features built in. One last thing I want to show you was color separation. If you click into the color separation viewer, it takes you to here where you can see all the color plates over on the left-hand side. So you can go into cyan, magenta, yellow, black for your typical printing. Also look at your Pantone spot colors, but you can join them. So you can say, well, how I want to bring these colors together and see how it blends. So you've got all those options. And then one last thing, you can actually go over and just move your mouse over this work and look at the ink densities on the particular piece of work as well. So some really detailed features here for packaging. Very, very good for making sure, we're going to really make sure that this piece of packaging is the best it can possibly be. Now, I want to quickly show you something a little bit special here. So I'm going to send these changes back to the designer. I'm going to go back and say, hey, I want these changes, please. And that's going to send the changes back to the designer. And I can now go into my Adobe Illustrator and see these changes inside of Illustrator. So here we are in Adobe Illustrator. The changes are now being sent back to the designer. The designer can now open up the PageProof panel. So you can see it's over here built into Illustrator. I can do a search for that file. Look for my packaging file here. And if I click into it, it's actually showing me the comments. So you can see these are the comments that we just made in the web version of PageProof inside of Illustrator. And if I click onto the comment, you'll see it actually shows me the markup on top of the artwork. So look, here is the markup that we just drew on the proof on top of my Illustrator artwork for that file. It's the best brief in the world for your designers. So they can go through, make the changes, and then there's a checkbox here to mark it as done, and then we move on to the next one. And as you can see, there's that box around the that we drew very first, and so that's right there. And even copy changes, you can see those copy changes as well coming through here. So some really, really powerful features inside of Illustrator. And what I wanted to also point out is these changes, this panel that you see here, also works in InDesign and in Photoshop and in Premiere Pro and After Effects as well, along with Figma, Canva, Adobe Express, you name it, Final Cut Pro. We support them all. So really good integrations directly with your design tools. And this, by the way, if you're looking at how do we save time and money and how do we make sure things are accurate, this is the tool. This is what does it. Really, really, really great. Now, from inside of Illustrator, your team can upload a new version. Now, when you put up new versions in PageProof, you get this option here. You'll see you get a version pop-up, and you can have as many versions here as you like of the same piece of work. and you can go into compare mode if you want to, and that puts the two pieces of work side by side. So you can see version 1 and version 2, and you can then go into smart compare mode, and it's going to overlay the two, version 1 and version 2, and it's going to pop out the differences in white. You can see these white changes here. You can also change that to red if you really want it to be red, you can do that. But it really is a great way of seeing the differences between the different versions. So that's useful. But if you really like an old-fashioned slider, we have the slider that lets you move between version 1 and version 2 as well. So some nice ways of checking changes. You can also pop out the comment pane and have a look at the comments over the top of these versions as well. So just showing you some of the features of the compare screen built into PageProof right here. So that gives you, I think, a good idea of the sorts of things that you can do with PageProof when it comes to packaging work. You can upload proofs into PageProof. You can then go through and you can go through and send this out, gather the feedback, put it back into Illustrator or InDesign or Photoshop, get the changes done. So just showing you how that works. Now, we're going to switch it up a little bit and we're going to look at a catalog. So here I have a piece of catalog work in front of me. Now, this is a catalog for cosmetics and things, and same sorts of tools are here, but you'll notice there's a slight difference down the bottom here. We've got navigation for switching between different pages. You can even get a page overview if you want to. If you've got multiple pages here, you can get a page overview for that. But the great thing about these tools are they are exactly the same regardless of the work type. So it's still using the tools on the left-hand side of the screen to place feedback on the proof and then press the finished button. But there are a couple of advantages for your packaging when it comes to, retail catalogs. And that is when you choose the box tool. Now the box tool, when I select over I might say, hey, this particular product here is okay. So I can use this fill and just say this is approved and add that on, and you'll notice it puts a green tint over the top of that product box. And that one, if I hover over it, it tells me approved. So you can go through, so your team who can be on this proof all at the same time can go through their particular areas and they can say, yep, this has been approved, yep, this section's been approved, etc., etc. And they don't give it the overall approval for the entire job. They're just doing the product boxes that they care about. So really great way when it comes to this that you're able to get this out to multiple people at the same time, and they can check just the product boxes they care about and leave their approvals on those particular product boxes. Now, all the same tools are here. You've got, barcode scanner, you've got the spell check, you've got the imports, you've got all the things that you would expect are all here and built in. So those are all there for you to use with PageProof for your particular retail type work. Now, the last thing I wanted to take you through was putting a piece of work into PageProof, because this is the important stuff. So if I take a file and drop it into PageProof, it takes me to the proof setup screen. Now this setup screen is the one screen that you go to for sending out your proof. Now here you'll notice I've uploaded this file, and you'll see it's got the top here, the proof name, which is great. Collection. Collections are like folders that you can store proofs in. So you've got a folder structure. Tagging, so you can put in job numbers. You can put in product codes, whatever you like, you can put those into here. The reference, if you're using any of these project management tools, PageProof natively integrates with all of these project management tools, and it updates the statuses of the tasks inside of those project management tools. So the really, really great integrations from Asana, Monday, Trello, Airtable, and ClickUp. Really, really great. And there's some more as well. You set a due date, and you can set up automated reminders. So these are the intervals in which PageProof is going to chase people and make sure that they leave feedback. So that is a really, really great thing. And then over on the left-hand side, right-hand side, the reviewers, you can set up these templates, and you can choose a template, and you'll see this is the flow. This is where the proof is going to go. It's going to start at the top step and work its way through all the different steps that you've got. So, and this is just an example. It's going to go to the creative check first. Once they've left their feedback, it's then going to go to the product check. Once they've left their feedback, it goes to our legal team, etc., etc. So you can set up these stages and have PageProof move the proofs through the stages for you automatically. So you haven't got legal getting in early before the product team have had a look at the proof. So this is what a PageProof workflow looks like. You can set up thresholds of how many you need before it moves on, and you can put due dates per step here as well. So hopefully that gives you a good sense of how the workflows work. And then finally, the checklists, which we saw, you can just choose them from here. So you can just choose the appropriate checklist and set the options and then hit the send proof. Excuse me. So very powerful, very quick way of sending out proofs, and shows you a lot about the options that are available in PageProof for sending out your proofs. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to switch back to the team, and we'll go through any questions and back to the slide deck.
All right. Thanks, Marcus, for a very insightful demo on PageProof.
Yeah, fantastic.
Right, so
there's 3 questions there, I see.
Yeah, there's 3 questions here.
What I'll do is I'll quickly talk about the impact, and then I'll answer those questions, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. So the impact of PageProof. So these are some stats we've collected over the 10 years that PageProof has been doing the world's proofing. Adopting PageProof means that you can get a 53% reduction in your rework. And that means that you're not sending things out and then going, oh no, we found a mistake. We better pull that back and start again. So the rework factor is dropped dramatically. Your team productivity goes up because now you're spending time, as you saw me in Illustrator, I'm able to just go in and make the changes really quickly and then get the proof back out for version 2. I don't need to spend time trying to figure things out. So that's really, really great. The 40% workflow efficiency, meaning you're getting your work through the organization much faster, means that you can bring more work on less budget, which is really, really important these days. It really helps a lot with that. And then the review time, we see if you're doing proofs now, either doing it via email or some other way, you could go up to six versions before you get it signed off. We're going to get it down to like 2 or 3 using PageProof. As people use the system, they understand the versioning and they really can look at the detail. So your versioning goes from 6 down to 2 or 3 proofs. So a really big efficiency change there. All right, so let's answer these questions that we've got over here.
All right. Yeah, so we have 2 questions. So do you support Microsoft Office too?
Yes. So PageProof supports Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And we have a plugin, just like you saw in Illustrator, native for Microsoft Office as well. So you can bring the comments into Microsoft Office. So yes, we do support Microsoft Office.
All right, great. We have another question here. How long will it take to get my team up and running with PageProof?
Right, so PageProof is a subscription model. You essentially say, this is the license that suits me. You get the license worked out first, and you can have PageProof up and running within a matter of days. It is very, very quick to get up and running. Workflows are the piece that you will spend the most time probably figuring out, but the rest of it is so intuitive and so simple to use, but yet it's very powerful. So you can be up and running in days, and I'd say you would start getting your return within only a few weeks. You'll start seeing some real gains for your team.
All right, that's good. And we have one more question here. Does PageProof have an integration for Adobe Creative Cloud and Canva?
Yeah, okay. So I showed Adobe Illustrator. That's part of Adobe Creative Cloud. So we do support Adobe Creative Cloud for video, so Premiere Pro and After Effects. The other parts of Creative Cloud for static design, so InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator, all fully supported as well. So That's the Adobe suite, and that's typical for your traditional design and video work. And then Canva, which everybody loves for doing their social and doing their quick change type work. We support Canva as well. So yes, we do that. And if there's anybody doing prototypes or doing any work in Figma, we have just released a native integration with Figma as well. So yes is the answer to all of those questions.
All right, perfect. Let's see, is there any other questions from the floor? All right, I think that's no more questions. And we're just perfectly on time. So thank you so much, Marcus, for a very great and insightful walkthrough demo of PageProof. I hope that the audience today, they get to have some very fruitful key takeaways on what they have seen on PageProof. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Jason.